information. All right. Let's share some good news. What have you guys been up to? Corey, you got something binding yesterday, right?
Yeah, actually, so I have two couples that I'm helping rent an apartments or whatever, leasing apartments, houses. And both of them found something and were both approved. So one of them, they did an online application and they were approved. And the other one, we got the word that they were approved. So they'll be sending the lease today. So
that's awesome. And what are they renting? Like what kind of properties?
So the one couple, the first couple, they're renting a house. They were actually hoping to buy. So they were on my pipeline for buying, but they could only, their credit is needing work. So they were not approved for the amount that would have allowed them to get a house that they wanted. So
got it.
So they shifted to renting. So we found something quickly. And then the other couple is renting a townhouse, and that's actually my niece.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
I'll tell you, I think I kind of alluded to this yesterday. There are a lot of people who, when the last shift happened back in 08, 09, 2010, that area, there was a lot of really high producing agents that had developed quite an ego, and they had kind of found their sweet spot working in the luxury market and with a certain kind of level clientele, if you will, and they got really, what's the word I'm looking for? They got really kind of arrogant. And when it came time to work short sales and foreclosures and first time home buyers and people that were taking advantage of the tax credits and renters and all that, they wanted nothing to do with that, right? And the people that did were interested in growing their business and were going to do whatever it took to grow their business, like me and like Candace and the rest of them, they took market share because they were primarily interested in the relationship as opposed to anything else. The money will come when the relationships are there. The money will come in tenfold when the relationships are there. But I'm going to tell you something, Corey. Those two people know that you didn't get paid much to help them.
Well, I wasn't even really doing it for the money because I knew it was, not much, but.
Right. I mean, I was basically paying for gas money for a year or two as I was probably helped well over 100 renters rent. And that's why I ultimately had a lot of success. I think that's one of the reasons why I had a lot of success, because I had a lot of relationships and a lot of people enjoyed working with me, and they knew that I was interested in the thing that was best for their family, that I wasn't trying to just, move them into whatever I would get paid the most to move them into. Make sense?
Yeah. Can I share one more thing?
Please.
So I was, driving around yesterday and I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. And I took it and I just said, hello, this is Corey. And it was, hey, this is Randy. You left a message for us on April 1st. And we're just now checking our voicemail because we don't usually use our voicemail. I think maybe they're traveling. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah. I said, remind me where, which neighborhood are you in? Because I was calling by neighborhoods.
Great.
And he told me, and I was like, oh yeah. I said, I've been speaking with one of your neighbors, Mr. Escandani. And I said, do you know him? He's like, oh yeah, he lives right across the street from me. I was like, oh, that's great. And so anyway, we don't have an appointment yet, but I'm going to call him next week. I got his information. I wrote everything down in a magazine, and whatever it takes. Like if you don't, I wrote everything down. I stopped.
Daughter's name.
Yeah. And I put everything in command, but he's got two sons that just moved to, a location and all of that stuff. So, yeah. And it's a nice neighborhood too.
Good stuff. I mean, that is how it works, right? And you can, even if the guy is not, ready to buy something or sell something, again, the focus is on forging the relationship. So if you could even say something like, hey, I'm going to be in the area early next week. Can I swing by and put a face to a name, right?
Mhm.
No big deal. It's not an appointment. There's no like paperwork that you're going to be discussing. You're just meeting people, right? And you're
Yep.
letting them know that you're a giver and you are fun to be around and you're knowledgeable, right? Awesome. Awesome. Anyone else want to share anything?
Hey, Bill, can I share?
Please. I'm gonna try,
contract.
Marquia, while you're saying this, I'm going to try to share my screen real fast. So if we get cut
Okay.
off, I might ask you to try again, but keep going.
Okay. Now, I wrote 3 contracts this week. So for one of my clients, the one who listing I have. So hopefully one of the 3 at least get accepted. So
You have
we
three contracts with 3 different agents or 3 different buyers, I mean?
No, for one buyer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is
so
awesome.
pretty strong offers. So hopefully we at least get 2 out of 3 so they can make a decision. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I have some good news and say that we're on the contract.
Great stuff. Great stuff. That is awesome. I know, Marquis, you've been working real hard for, for a long time, but I've been able to witness a lot of your efforts over the last, maybe, I don't know, what is it, 7, 8 months or so? And business is really, those flowers are really starting to bloom, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I know there were some tough weeks back then, just like everyone's going to encounter. And one thing I've always admired about you is you just kept your head down and kept doing the stuff that we talked about doing, and the results go up. So great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. Candace and I have been, the last 2 days have been in something called Spring Masterminds, where we get an opportunity to basically get in the room with a number of the MAPS productivity coaches, and a bunch of productivity coaches from all over the country, like literally hundreds of them. And they break us into little mastermind groups and share, what's working, what's not working, how do you get everyone organized and motivated and retained and engaged and all that stuff. So our brains are currently exploding, and we each have been drafting a ton of our favorite ideas. And I would expect to see some positive adjustments and tweaks to the program in the coming weeks. And I'm just grateful, and I'm pretty sure I can speak on Candace's behalf as well, that you guys are here, and that you've chosen to make this a part of your day, and that you're committed to yourself, right, and to those that count on you, and to your peers. And that means a lot to me. And there's nothing that makes me happier than one of y'all asking a question in the group and somebody else answering it, right? Particularly the person that's answering it is one of the people that may have asked a very similar question 2 weeks earlier or something. So I want to express my gratitude to you guys, and thank you very much for your partnership. So I want to spend a couple of minutes today talking about leverage, but I kind of want to show you one other kind of concept first, because I want you to really understand something important about a business or the organizational model. So I'm going to go ahead and post something in the WhatsApp chat. It's called the MAPS Models Workbook. It's like 192 pages. And what they decided to do maybe a little over a year ago, was to say, hey, we're a company of systems and models, right? So wouldn't it make sense if, instead of having to go to this class to get the 4 models that are relevant to that, and go to this class and get the 10 models that are relevant to that topic, let's put all the models together and let's teach a class on that. And that's a class called MAPS Models, which I've taken and many of our leaders have taken. And this is the workbook for that. So if you are unsure of, you need validity for KW being a company of models, there's 192 pages of proof of it, okay? I want to walk you through just a couple of slides, though, in the presentation today, so that you can start to think like a business owner and start to imagine, right, yourself in a place where you have the ability to grow an organization, and you have the ability to expand your opportunities, and you have an ability to present other opportunities to other leaders, right? So one of these slides that I really like in this is this idea of talent versus non-talent. Okay, so talent is a motive. You hear that word a lot, right? If you're gonna bring on somebody to help you in your organization, do you think you'd prefer to have somebody that's super talented or somebody that's not particularly talented? What do you think? Let's play along with me for a second.
I would rather hire somebody who's talented.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I agree. So you should be asking yourself, even if you want to be the CEO of your organization, there will maybe be a time that if you're talented and you're nailing the job that you currently have, then others might look to you and say, whoa, I want to keep my eye on that person, right? Maybe that person can help me in my mission, right? And so you always want to be asking yourself, am I developing the skills and the tools and am I becoming professional and smart and all these things so that I can be attractive to the world, right? So one thing that I always like here is a non-talented person doesn't fulfill your needs and ends up giving you parts of your job back. And a talented person shares your goals and fulfills your need as a natural byproduct of fulfilling their own, right? A talented person is continually raising the bar, and a non-talented person doesn't even know where the bar is or what bar you're talking about, right? So there is a distinct difference between a talented individual and a non-talented individual. Now I'm going to encourage you guys, a lot of it is in the mindset that you bring to the opportunity, right? Are you learning based? Are you strongly motivated? Do you wake up every day looking to solve problems, right? Those are the types of people that are going to be attractive to the empire builders and to the people that have the opportunities at the moment. Does that make sense? All right, so who knows what anyone ever heard the term seventh level? Does anyone know what I mean when I say a seventh level business? Anybody? Hopefully we have some readers of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book in this room, correct?
So I might need to refresh my memory, but that's one where you're basically having someone else run your business and you're on a beach. Well, in theory.
You are
Close.
I like the way you say that. Here's the deal. This is what Andy always says. You can take your hands off the business, but never take your eyes off.
Yes.
Right. So sitting on a beach and cashing the checks that come in and somebody else doing all the work without leadership, that's a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. You as the visionary, basically as the visionary, you're going to have to be involved if at least from a leadership role where you're working with your leaders so that they can work with their leaders, so that they can work with their leaders, right? The people that are oftentimes doing the work. But nobody wants to like join an organization so the person that just hired them can go sit on the beach and do nothing. You see what I'm saying?
I would say, maybe you could summarize it to where the seventh level is where you have other people working on your business, like they're doing the work. Is that maybe one of the ways to describe it?
I think that is both of you together that you're very close. And I'll walk you through the seven steps here in a second. But the idea is you have built an organization where you have slowly given away, let's say there's 300 tasks that a real estate organization has to do to get buyers, into the funnel, served, and then a communication system to keep them in the funnel, right? Slowly but surely, you have assigned other people those roles, right? So now somebody else is doing the showing, somebody else is doing the working with the buyers, somebody else is handling the administrative stuff, somebody else is handling the marketing stuff, right? And people are working their way up as are you. And now you have more of a supervisory role. And your job now is to set the vision so that your talented people on the bus want to stay on your bus. Because if I hire a bunch of leaders and say, hey, isn't this vision cool? Catch me at the beach. They're going to be like, the hell am I here for? I'm going to go start my own thing. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so I want to walk you guys through this. Let me just double check. Yeah, basically everyone on this call is what we would call first level right now. Okay, first level is personal productivity. By the way, this is page 61 of the document that I shared with you. Okay, here, this is really relevant for you guys. We're going to spend a moment on this. Okay, the common questions of a personal productive level 1 agent are, what do I do today? How do I use command? Where's the training? Common mistakes, no schedule, right? You basically are tending to everyone else's fires instead of the things that are on your 411, assuming you have a 411, right? No database, no scripts, okay? Your key activities for you guys right now needs to be learning scripts, learning what to say, role playing, 3 hours of lead gen a day so that you can grow that database, working with buyers and sellers. You also handle all the administrative work. You're previewing the properties, you're building that database, you're learning and using command. See that? So you got all the jobs if you are a solo agent. Okay, just because the ones that seem to pay the most are working with buyers and sellers, you still have to tend to the social media, you still have to tend to the deadlines and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's just you. That is your organizational chart right there. Okay. Now, what your goal is, I think, is to grow, right? So a second level agent, the common questions are when, how am I going to pay the person? The common mistakes are pay, hiring, training, waiting, right? Waiting to hire somebody. Does anyone know any real estate agents that have never taken a vacation and seem to work all day and all night? And the only thing crazier than the fact that they seem to have no desire to have a quality of life outside of real estate, the only thing more shocking than that is that they almost wear it as a badge of honor, right? Well, I'm a realtor, so I don't go on vacation. I work every night and every holiday and every weekend, and I can't even recognize my family, right? I'm not impressed with that, honestly. I've got a lot of old real estate colleagues, most of which are at my old brokerage, who they seem to take pride in the fact that they do it all themselves. And all that shows me is that no one's in their world teaching them how to this stuff, how to build a business, right? How to think like a leader, an owner, an empire builder. Okay.
And I think sometimes, Bill, it's that type A personality, and they have difficulty learning to let go and delegating to other people because they think only they can do it the right way.
Right.
So I think that's a trap of people like us who have that kind of personality.
You're 100% right. And they discuss this in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And they say that people are not loyal to me. They're loyal to the standards that they have become accustomed to from working with me. So if I'm going to hire talented people that can execute on the level that I was at, if not higher, then they should have no issue, right? So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I need you to show me a property and you can help me be a buyer's agent. I'm like, okay, you're going to work with Pam. And they're like, no, I want to work with you. I say, no, you don't want to work with me. I haven't seen enough property lately. I'm way less patient than her. Like she's much better than me. You're going to work with her. Right. And they're like, well, if you think it's okay, it's okay. I'm like, okay, that was easy. I'm serious. If you push back one time, they're like, most of the time they're fine. Right. Because they know that I've got my eyes on her in the business. And therefore I'm not going to let anything fall through the cracks. Does that make sense? So people are not loyal to you. They're loyal to the standards that they have become accustomed to from working with you. So that begs the question, what are your standards? And how much do you care about your standards? Right? What do you want your brand, your image, your organization to represent? What will people experience when they get into partnership with you? Y'all follow that? Okay. I know we're kind of ethereal today, but every once in a while, we've got to leave the worker bee mentality and start thinking like a business person. Okay. All right. Here's the deal though. If you want a talented administrative person, you better be a talented leader, right? Or a talented administrative person ain't gonna want to hang out with you, right? If I'm a hot mess and I don't know how to lead people or inspire people, then I might get the best administrative person in the history of the world, and he or she shows up at my office the first day and I'm a mess, and she's like, or he's like, I'm out of here. You appear to be a C leader and I'm an A+ talent. Peace out, right? So remember, as you're building your real estate business, you also need to build your leadership skills, right? So what are you reading? What are you studying, right? Who are you modeling yourself after? You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you know how sometimes the best salesperson becomes the sales manager and they fail at being a sales manager? It's because they're good at sales, but managing salespeople is totally different. It's a totally different skill set. So you have to develop a few different skill sets. Make sense? Y'all with me? Okay. Key activities for this level is learning and mastering scripts, role play, 3 hours of lead gen a day, working with the buyers and sellers, creating a team culture, learning and using command, and building the systems with the help from the admin. Okay, so this is second level, level 2, level 1, right? Third level. Okay, we'll go through these a little bit faster, but this is where you have a lead admin person and a transaction coordinator. Okay, you're still doing all the buyer and seller work. Okay, yet you have people that are handling the transactions and you have people that are handling the marketing and the administrative work. Okay, remember, common mistakes are no defined job descriptions, no separation of duties, training. So again, remember, that's where we latch on to Keller Williams and leverage their tools and systems, their training manuals, their personality assessments, and all that kind of stuff, so that you can you don't have to reinvent the wheel, if that makes sense. Okay, fourth level. This is a two-parter. Now's where you start getting a little bit of help, or sales help, if you will. Now you have a OSA or an ISA that's an outside salesperson or an inside salesperson. So there's generally somebody helping the funnel grow, right? Meaning leads coming in. And you may have leveraged out some showings with a showing assistant. Okay, level 2 looks like this. Level 4, part 2, you have a lead manager and an inside or outside salesperson. Now you have a lead buyer's agent and a couple of showing agents. And you have a lead admin that's managing your listings and your transactions, right? Y'all see how this stuff grows? The key activities here are, team learning and mastering scripts, role playing, lead generation for 3 hours a day, training your sales team, focusing on team culture, utilizing command 411s, right? Common mistakes, no leadership, cycles of good and bad hires. You don't hire the person who needs a summer job because they need a summer job. You hire the person that's the best fit for the organization because they bring a certain collection of tools and skills and personality to the organization that is going to take it to the next level, right? Have you guys ever heard the line, you don't hire a talent, I think Steve Jobs said this, you don't hire a talented person and then tell them what to do. You hire a talented person and then let them tell you what to do, right? I didn't hire Candace and then say, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this. I said, hey, why don't you watch what I've created here and then poke holes in it and then help me fix it all. Sorry, I know that sounds like such a ruthless job description, doesn't it?
But I love it. And I have to tell you, my very favorite marketing, she was a part-time marketing coordinator, and she would come to our house twice a week And I would say, Maria, here's what's on the agenda today. And she'd say, Candace, I know what to do. Go sell homes. Get out of here. And then
Yes.
that would come back and everything would be done. I didn't even have to tell her what to do. She figured it out and made it up and made me better. She was
Right.
awesome.
And by the way, she probably said, you know, I looked at your system for tracking this, like that you created 6 years ago, and it sucked. So I redid
Yeah,
it all. Are you cool with
exactly.
that?
Exactly.
That's a hugely talented person, right? So let's jump over here. So now we have insides and outside salespeople. We have showing agents for lead buyers. By the way, you are still handling all the sellers here. Okay. You have a director of operations. So you've promoted from within, right? Here we start talking about hiring a listing agent, right? And here we start talking about expansions and director of sales, and the buyer's agents have showing agents, right? Directors of lead generation. Here we talk about expansion. Okay, and seventh level is basically when you hire the CEO, and the CEO is in charge of they have the direct reports now instead of you. So your direct reports are the CEO and oftentimes the leader of the director of expansion. Everyone else is reporting to the CEO. So now your mind is free to go find other opportunities for your people. That was one thing I'll never forget this. I think I've told you guys this story before. I remember being in, I think it was Family Reunion a couple of years ago, and Andy was being interviewed and he was explaining all of his organizations and the empire that he's built. And somebody said to him, well, if they lead that and they lead that and they lead that, what do you do? Right? And he says, I'll never forget this. He said, I've got a bunch of awesome leaders in my organization, and I need my time now is spent finding their next opportunity. Because their next opportunity is either going to be within my world or it could be outside of my world. And because I don't want it to be outside of my world, I mean, I want what's best for them and all that. But if I know them well and I know what they're after, then maybe they can help create that and it can stay in my organization. Does that make sense? So let's leave that model for a second. And let me put a how is this applicable to you guys today? Let's focus on that for 1 second. So the way it's applicable is you need to start thinking like a person who, when they do what they're supposed to do in real estate, is worth several $100s an hour. Okay, that type of person, and I'm probably going to be a little controversial here. Okay, that type of person, unless you get some kind of weird fulfillment from cutting the grass and, you know, let me think of another good example.
Washing the car.
Washing the car. Unless
Laundry.
you get some kind of strange fulfillment from that, somebody else ought to be doing that for you. Because when you move from a $400 an hour job to a $10 an hour job, you're losing money, right? I remember I heard a podcast not long ago where this guy just finished his first year in real estate because he was taught to track everything and all that kind of thing. Thank you, Candace. I'll be there in a second. Because they were taught to track everything, he tracked all of his income, and then of course he tracked all of the time that he spent earning the income. And after a year, he determined that he was worth $50 an hour. Okay, $50 an hour would be 100 grand in income, 40 hours a week. Okay, he said $50 an hour is what I make as a first-year agent, so it's only going to go up from there, right? So anything that I can pay somebody to do for less than $50 an hour that I don't get any fulfillment from, meaning, for example, like if I pick up my kid from school, I get fulfillment from that. So I'm not suggesting that you sell off all the things that give you fulfillment. I'm suggesting you consider selling off all the things that don't give you fulfillment, right? I'm no longer going to do anything that I can pay somebody else to do for less than $50 an hour, because when I'm a realtor, that's what I make. Okay. So that was the end of him mowing his grass. That was the end of him putting in his listings. That was the end of him, you know, you know, chasing contract to close paperwork and stuff like that. Y'all see that? And then he was able to use his newfound skill to go grow the organization for everybody. Does that make sense? All right, what have you guys heard today? Come on, somebody tell me something. I didn't just waste 25 minutes of my life, did I? Michael, what did you hear? Chantrell,
Well, I heard that first thing I wrote down was that you got to have standards. That was one of the first things I got out of it. But just the planning, the way that you think about the organization, I think is really something I need to start doing, because right now I think I'm below level 1.
yeah, you're like level 1 and not all that clear with all of the jobs of level 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's very
Hey,
important.
Bill, I'll share.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And Markia, go ahead.
I think from the conversation, and me and you talk about it a lot, about working smarter, not harder, and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And, if you need to grow your business by hiring somebody to do the things that you're not so strong at, or the administration things, so that you can be more productive to grow the business, then, sometimes you just have to make that necessary sacrifice.
Yeah, can I offer you something? Let me spin what you just said a tiny bit. So, Marquita, you work part-time at a leasing office, right?
Full-time.
Full-time. Well,
Property manager, yeah.
you're just doing so much real estate work. I didn't know how much time you were able to give those people, because you're crushing it, right? Think about this. The person who signs your check to work there, they hired you to do work that they either didn't have the time to do, didn't have the skill to do, right? So you are helping building that person's organization. So anybody that has a job, right, has been hired to do a job that somebody else used to have, and they stepped out of that role because they had a different skill set and they had enough capital to offer that job to you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting way to look at it, isn't it?
Right.
Chantrell, did you want to share something under duress?
No, not today, Bill.
Not today. Okay. Anyone else thinking anything? Anyone else thinking big today? No one? No one?
I'm thinking maybe I'm getting close to being level 1.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I'll tell you, sometimes there's a few steps that you can take prior to level 1. Let's spend a moment on that, which is leveraging stuff in your personal life.
Yeah.
Right. So that you can have more time to dedicate to real estate, so you can create more chaos, and then you can have a business opportunity available. Right. So that, again, that stuff could be cleaning your house or mowing your grass, or, these services that'll deliver dinner to you and these kind of things. Like, is that something that's worthwhile, so that you can use that time for something that is more productive? You see what I'm saying? So I wore this shirt today in honor of our discussion, because we should always be thinking to ourselves, when we have a task that comes at us, remember, we can use our time to deal with it, or we can use our money to deal with it, right? Our money is essentially another way of saying somebody else's time. Does that make sense? Like, I buy, this is an unusual way of saying it, but we have a person that comes, or several people that come over to the house once every 2 weeks to clean. What we're doing is we're buying their time. Does that make sense? So is your time being, are you earning what you deserve to earn every time you are working? Right?
I'll give you an example. There's I need to reorganize some stuff and well, a bunch of places in my house. And for my birthday this year, my sister and my mom gifted me 10 hours of somebody to come to help me organize. And she's not like a professional organizer. She's my niece's friend. So it's college age girl. And so she came and she helped me do some things. And then I noticed I had some things that I still needed to do. And I was like, oh, I should do that. This is like the mental process. And I'm like observing the mental process and thoughts that are going on. And I was like, I should do that. And I was like, well, wait a second. That's like, then I'm not going to be able to do my work, and I'm not going to be able to spend time with my kids, and, I'm not going to be happy and present for them. I'm like, I'm just going to, I've got 2 hours left with, Alex, she can do it. And so, so that's sitting there waiting for her to be done when she gets back from her trip. And, it's just things like that.
Yeah. And I want to caution everyone, because it's very easy for people to like, oh, I'm going to have this, woman come over and clean my closets and stuff. Like, how do you think that makes her feel? Right. You have to be really careful around what words you choose to use. Right.
I didn't mean to make it sound like, oh, I'm just going to give it to her. It probably came off like that, but that's not how I mean it.
I wasn't referring to you. I was referring sometimes to the way my mind works. Is like, you make it feel like, hey, I'm some, skilled guy that can make more than $15 an hour. So I'll just give it to that other little person that's willing to work for $15 an hour. You just have to be really careful with how you phrase all that. That wasn't a rebuke of you.
Well, the other thing is we don't always have that leverage. So it's planning for how can I get to the point where when I do have the leverage and money to pay somebody to do that, it's creating a plan so that you can get there.
Right. So that could be something like, is there a certain amount of each commission check that I put aside for the growth of my business? Right. So I'll give you an example. That Gary Keller says that basically every investment that you make in your business should return somewhere between 3 and 4 times the investment minimum. Okay, so let's just take an example. Let's use that as an example, right? So let's say you have a commission check of 10 grand and you take 1,000 of it and you go throw it at Facebook ads. What it's saying is that you should receive $3,000 to $4,000 in income from that $1,000 investment. That's between a 300 and a 400% return, guys. Many of us have money in the stock market where we might be lucky to make 8% return. The beautiful thing about having a business and being a business owner is oftentimes the best investment that you can make right now is in yourself, not in Nike or Home Depot or something. You see what I'm saying? You don't have any control over that, right? Bet on yourself, right? Bet on yourself. Is there somebody else that can lick the envelopes? Is there somebody else that can stuff them, right? And I kind of maybe said something out crazy the other day. I think it was Heather Fowler said, how much should I pay somebody to stuff the envelopes? And I said, you got kids at home who every time they want food, they go to the fridge that you stocked. They should be doing that, right? It's a family effort. Let's help the people that count on us need to understand that, like, look, I've got a massive opportunity here. I just need a little help around the house so I can go help more buyers and sellers. So no, you're stuffing the envelopes. I'm going to teach you a little bit about life today. Is that great? Am I going to get called out on am I going to get called into the office?
Fair. No, it's good.
Child labor, man.
It's
the
not
cheapest.
It's not labor. It's a family organization, right? I'm not building this for me. I'm building it for you guys.
Yeah, I've had my kids help me with the mailings and things like that in the past.
Yeah.
Usually don't complain too hard. They
Well,
know that I pay for dinner.
Do you like, have you ever received a rent check or a rent bill or a mortgage bill? No, I didn't think so. Okay,
No.
thank you. Right. But don't forget to show them the rewards of that, Michael. Right. Hey, so I just had a conversation with somebody that I met because you stuffed that envelope. So I just want to express my gratitude to you for that effort because it created this relationship and that's going to create this paycheck. And then we can parlay that back into the fact that you play soccer after school, or that's part of the reason why we're going on this vacation. Right. And when they see the results of their efforts and how it's creating opportunity for everyone in the family, everyone's a winner.
Right on.
I know this was a little like kind of a more of an unusual morning huddle. I just want to make sure that you guys are, if there's one thing, I was actually speaking to somebody yesterday who was, she's about to make her decision on which brokerage to join. She was trying to decide if she wanted to join our brokerage or she wanted to join the brokerage that I came from. And so I was asked to speak with her. And I was trying to identify the biggest change for me when I moved from one place to the other. And hands down, it's the way I think. It's the way I think. How big I think, what I'm learning, who I'm in business with, the levels in which I'm thinking about wealth and opportunity and all these kind of things. And I could not have accomplished what I've accomplished here without that mindset, right? That's why it says think like a CEO, right? They say leadership is helping people think the way they need to think so that they can get what they want when they want it, right? So part of my job, I believe, part of my job is to help challenge some of the notions that you might have around work or money or success or growth or wealth, right? You ever heard the line, money is the root of all evil? It doesn't have to be. If I get a lot of money and I do good things with it, then it's really good. If I get a lot of money and I do bad things with it, then it's really bad. You see what I'm saying? Okay, I feel like a preacher today. I got a smile out of you, Chantrell. I was waiting for it. I appreciate you guys.
You smile out of me. What are you talking about?
All right, you guys. I love working with you. Thank you, everyone. Don't
Thanks,
forget
Bill.
today at 12 o'clock. Let me just make sure I'm saying that correctly. At 12 o'clock today, in this room will be the Growth Mastermind, and in with Candace's room will be the Launch Mastermind. So I hope that you will go and meet tons of people today and add a bunch of people to your database, and then come on back and let's share some ideas and continue to help each other, okay?
Sounds good.
Oh, let me drop it. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye.